Hi, everybody. Welcome to the World Cup lot, the Rugby League World Cup 2021 podcast, kindly sponsored by ACD&B, who are a branding and creative design agency based in Farsley, Leeds. They create standout brands. So, if any companies out there, businesses, rugby league clubs need a new brand refresh, new logo, anything along those lines, just get in touch with ACD&B. Thanks, as always, to them for sponsoring us. They are fab. They are brilliant. He's back after, I can't think, well, I'll ask him now, but I can't think what the hell he thinks is more important than recording our match reviews. Reese, what was more important last week?
Well, I did spend 130 quid on a ticket to go watch Jacksonville at Wembley, so you can moan about Rugby League World Cup prices.
Okay, you've got a point. That might be a little bit more interesting and important.
Yeah, somewhat more expensive, so I wasn't not going. But I'm back.
You're back.
And actually,
welcome back.
I'm a bit upset right now because I've just realised there's no rugby tonight, is there?
No.
We've had constant rugby from Friday
wall
to
wall.
Tuesday.
Spoiled rotten.
Monday. And there's no rugby tonight. I'm a bit bored now. I don't know what to do.
It's a bit boring. Yeah,
I suppose we'll have to talk about it.
We'll have to talk about rugby league instead. Who's our guest tonight?
It's our Ian.
It's Ian. Let's bring him in.
Hello.
Hi, Ian. How are you?
Everybody. Very well, thank you. Yes, all good. Well, you say there's no rugby, but Brett Hodgson, England Rugby Union defensive coach.
Where did that come from, Reese? How the hell? Why? How? What?
Look, we
are they drunk over there in Rugby Union? Are they drinking?
The funny thing is, England's problem in Rugby Union isn't defence. It's attack. They can't score. But we know Rugby League coaches always do well over there. But it's funny, I was talking to my big boss today. He was massive into rugby. And I went, Brett Hodgson's your new defence coach at England. And he went, who?
Yeah.
No idea who he was, but
after his sterling job on the propping up the defence at Hull this season, which had more holes than a piece of Swiss cheese.
60-0, 70 points, something like that, quite a few times this year.
I think, didn't they go, they got battered at Wigan when Bevan French scored about 12 tries, and I swear we were either the next game or the following, but we battered them when it's 62-10.
Something like that, yeah.
It was definitely within like 3 games of that, like maybe a game sandwich in between. I mean, I think you tweeted that today, didn't you, Reese, about Brett Hodgson? That's when I saw it. And I was just like, how? Just literally one of those moments where you are scratching your head. Like, how is that even possible? Like, is no one over in Rugby Union, maybe they are, paying any attention at all to? Because usually, I don't know if he's applied for it. So usually you'd look at it and say, right, let's have a look at this.
I just wonder if he
it's rubbish.
You must know Eddie Jones.
He must.
He must.
It must be a jobs for the boys type.
Must be.
Well, you can look forward to Eddie's next press conference, probably when they get beat with Japan on Saturday, and Eddie will be well. I spoke to Brett, my defensive coach, and Brett says the reason we lost was Josh Reynolds.
Yeah.
So there we are.
Brett said the reason we lost was because we hired him.
Yeah.
On to the World Cup. Ian, you have been to some games, to many games.
I've been to quite a few. Yes, that's probably more than my wife worked out that I'd actually booked for. But yes, quite a few of the group games.
Brilliant.
2 quarterfinals, and I've got tickets for 2 semis and the final. So yeah, I've been to quite a few. So obscure places like Doncaster on a Monday night to see France, and I managed what was it? Australia, Fiji. I managed. I went up to see Middlesbrough. Went up to Middlesbrough to see Tonga and all of those sorts of things.
Does it feel? Obviously, you've been to loads of games. You've pretty much swallowed the whole World Cup. How has it felt attending these games, Ian? Has it felt like an event? Has it felt big in scale? Has it felt special? These games? Have you felt like, for instance, has there been much difference between a Super League game and the World Cup? Have you felt like, oh wow, I'm actually watching Tonga? I'm actually, has the occasion kind of had a bit of razzmatazz sprinkled on it?
I think the disappointment is that probably you've gone to stadiums and been rattling around in them somewhat. Yeah. You probably noticed some of my posts over the last couple of weeks or so. Frankly, I've had some really dodgy tickets, really. So I was kind of behind. Had my view obscured by a post at Bramall Lane. I was right up, tucked up in the corner at Huddersfield, and really, I'll get my little soapbox out a little bit about loyalty. And because the thing is, for the lack of marketing in rugby league, for somebody like me and probably yourself and probably quite a few folks who are watching this now, the thing is, you don't need to sell me the product. I know what it's like and I know how good it is. Now, the thing is, if you think about sort of the major supermarkets and things, you've got your loyalty cards, etc. You should be, when the tickets go on general sale, saying, well, actually, hang on a minute, we don't need to sell the product to you. Come and watch it. Come and fill the seats. Come and fill the stadiums. And then if you want to come along as to experience it a little bit, then, you can probably, we can give you some tickets, but not perhaps at the expense of other folks. You were saying just before the sort of the preamble about the American football or Twickenham or basically watching rugby union. The thing is, you kind of don't need to sell that. The thing is, you could probably fill 80% of Twickenham or 80% of Wembley by American football fans who will just buy the ticket pretty much regardless of who it is or for the day out. Whereas the rugby league fans, I would suggest, you are not incentivized. You are not sort of rewarded for your loyalty. There isn't a sop going back for saying, well, actually, hang on a minute, you had a wet Thursday night in Lee watching your regular team, but in return for that, we'll offer you maybe, say, a £5 off a World Cup ticket if you want to go. The other big thing that's been noticeable from this World Cup compared to the other ones, which I think would have got bums on seats in the earlier rounds, is that in previous World Cups, they marketed it by selling batches of tickets. So in other words, if you went to, say, 2 group games, you got a discount off the quarter-final, or if you went to 2 quarter-finals, you got a discount off the semi-final, or if you went to both semis, you got a discount off the final. And they've not done that this year. And really, some of the ticket prices have probably, given the economic things, have been a bit ridiculous. But, you're probably looking maybe at, say, some of the group games, and the group games are going to be blowouts. So why not make it, 20 quid for adults, 10 quid, or, say 20 quid for season ticket holders, 25 quid for anybody else, 10 quid for kids, and sell 80% of your stadium out 6 months before the game, before the World Cup even starts. And then, you're going to have the thing full then. And you don't need to promote, and that will then generate your atmosphere. Maybe a little bit more expensive for England games, maybe, and that sort of thing, because they're probably going to be in more demand. But really, if you want to go and watch, Tonga versus the Cook Islands in Middlesbrough, make it 20 quid for adults, 10 quid for kids. And basically, if you apply earlier, you get the best seats. And if you apply the day before, then you get tucked away in the corner somewhere.
Bramall Lane with a great big iron girder.
Yeah,
from your nose.
Behind you. Yeah.
Reese, you headed to Wembley.
I did.
For Jags versus, let me remember, Laurie told me. Bengals?
Denver.
Were I close? I don't know. Because that on television, it looked big. How do you feel rugby league could learn from that at all? Like holding an event like that in terms of a grand final or a Challenge Cup final?
It was interesting this year because normally the teams come over in the end. It's called NFL London, but Jaguars have come over on their own accord. So this wasn't the NFL hosting the game at Wembley. This was the Jaguars that were hosting the game.
Did it, right?
Now it was you could tell it was different because normally when the NFL do it, if you walk down Wembley Way, there's a big set of apartments on the left-hand side. Behind that is a massive empty car park, and that becomes a massive fan zone. They do fan zones at Super League. I don't know if they do at the Challenge Cup finals. To be honest, I stopped going to Challenge Cup finals after the early 10s experience and getting smashed by Warrington every effing year.
Yeah, that was boring.
So
we won't talk about that.
No, but there's this little. I don't know if it's just because it feels a little bit better. There's so much more pomp and circumstance with it. There was so much entertainment beforehand, so much going on, from mascots jumping off the ceiling. I mean, they did the anthems. They did the English anthem in an American way. That wasn't fun. Don't do that again. I know you're not listening, but that was horrendous.
Never mind,
great singer, but don't do that, please. But it certainly just feels like a bigger occasion, and in a way, you can liken these NFL games in London to the Challenge Cup because you play jersey bingo. You can get every 32 teams in the NFL. You can see every jersey, and it is a good experience, and it does feel a bit like that. But I think it's hard for rugby league to take stuff from the NFL because NFL is nostalgic. You know, it's not nostalgic. It's a one-time thing. They only come over once a year, and a lot of the Americans came over. A lot of people from Denver came over this year. But one of the things they could do is that they have team pubs in London, and in the team.
Right.
So you go in, and obviously everyone from that team, fan of that team, is there.
Heads to that.
But they'll get former players. They'll do things there, speeches and games and all that sort of stuff. So I think that's probably the one thing I think they could do. Because it keeps people in central London as well. But yeah, it just the theatrics of the before the game is the biggest thing. And I remember the grand final this year, there was nothing, was there? There was a bit of music and no real build-up. The build-up for that game was about 45 minutes was the build-up. It took forever.
Wow.
I feel like I was stood up for 15 minutes before the game actually started because we were doing everything.
Now.
Yeah.
There were too much entertainment.
Yeah. But to be fair, I had problems at Wembley as well. They would only let us order 4 pints at the time. And there were 6 of us. So we bought 12 instead. Because that meant 2 each. But no, it was good. I'm not sure how much there is rugby league from there, other than the theatrics before the game and actually making it stand out as an occasion. But it felt Wembley felt bigger than it ever did when you go to something like that. Yeah. I think.
Was it a sellout?
86,000, so nearly enough.
And did the Jags win?
No.
So
my friend who was sat next to me, who was a Denver fan.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You see,
there's a photo of me sat in the stadium half an hour after the game, just sat in my chair like this, going, while he stood there talking to all these Denver fans. I'm just like,
shit.
Again, the promotion for the Challenge Cup final has gone, well, basically down the pan. And from a rugby league point of view, I've been to every Challenge Cup final going back to 98. So my first one of the run was Sheffield when they beat Wigan in 98. And I've been to every one that I possibly could since, bar the COVID one. But take the Catalan final, for example. I mean, we paid sort of 40 quid for a seat, only to get there and be surrounded by, folks who'd paid 20 quid on Groupon the week before.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm reading now that, semi-final ticket, my 50 odd quid that was like the sort of category D semi-final ticket is going to be swamped by people paying 30 quid the week before.
Yeah.
So, I then sit back and say, I'm a mug for doing it and supporting the game and doing the right thing. And then, I'm kind of thinking, well, hang on a minute, why don't I just leave it till the week before and buy them all off, get the discounted ones?
Because the discounted ones, if you held out, the longer you wait, the cheaper they get.
Yeah.
I think there is a bit in rugby league, and before we move on to the game, at the moment you've got the rugby union internationals on. Now, Twickenham will sell out. You could charge £150 per person, and Twickenham will sell out. That's how strong the international game is in rugby union. Cardiff, similar, Edinburgh and Murrayfield, they will sell out. They're not as much in price range. Again, with the NFL, it doesn't matter what price they'll put it, they'll sell it out because of the supply. Yeah. And that's my only thing. But I think there's just a bit of naivety in some of the price brackets in this World Cup. But I've just texted my dad about going on Friday to see if he wants to go. But if he doesn't go, I'm probably going to go on my own. Because Australia and New Zealand, how often do you get to see that?
In Leeds as well.
In Leeds, yeah. I don't have to go across the border either.
No.
I think, was it the 95 or the 2000 semi between them? That was absolutely cracking. Yeah. That was the one at Huddersfield that went into extra time. That was an absolutely fantastic
Unbelievable game. Yeah, one of the best games ever. Absolutely best games ever. So that's that. England, Papua New Guinea. Kate Middleton in attendance.
Yeah.
And she sat next to Jodie Cunningham. Was it Jodie Cunningham?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
two England women.
Is she a big fan? Is this something new?
If she is, I hope she doesn't buy a Wigan season ticket. Like I heard
about to say, she's scrapped. Then did she eat a pie? You know that's the biggest. These are the questions we need to know. Did she get a pie?
A Wigan kebab. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, did she get a fucking kebab? You know, it's all right turning up and but you can kind of hate Wigan for a lot of things, and I think we all do. But the pies there, they are, they are real top notch. I'm just thinking, did she get a pie? Were they expecting her to turn up? I don't know if I just missed this, but I just didn't expect this. Was this announced or something?
I don't know. It was. I didn't see it. I don't know if you saw it, Ian.
I know they were up here last week because I know Kate and Wills had a gig in Scarborough. I think was it the Thursday or the Friday?
Right.
So they must have been up here. I mean, we'd love to probably get Jodie Cunningham and maybe anybody else, somebody like David Oxley. I would love to know. Well, do they just sit there? Do they just sort of gaze at the fingernail for 8 minutes, or do they go, "Ooh, what's happening now?" Or
talk about England absolutely smashing Papua New Guinea.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I mean. Is she a fan? Was she forced against her own will to go there? It just seems so weird. What? She's there. Eh?
Did you see the time she spent the day with the England Women Rugby Union?
No, I missed it.
I remember that. Yeah,
they ended up lifting her in the line out.
Yes,
and doing proper lifts of her and stuff. So she seems quite game for it. But obviously, William is patron of England RFU.
England, yes.
Was he Wales? No, William's Wales. Harry's England. Sorry,
Harry's England.
Yeah.
And why was she there by herself?
No, Wales are playing New Zealand, weren't they, in Cardiff?
All right. It just all seemed a bit off about. But yeah, it got a lot of publicity, Kate being there. I mean, I saw it all over Twitter. I think I actually saw it on a bit of news as well. I thought, well, at least it's got some eyes on, maybe not the game so much, but, the fact that she was there is a big deal for us, I felt.
I mean, they must have been going, no, Your Royal Highness, no, that's a try. No, we get that a lot in rugby union. No, in rugby league. Sorry, no, you might not have seen that too much in rugby union. No, but that's actually what one looks like. There.
Yeah, and there's another one there.
Look at this.
I'm more concerned about the language of certain rugby league fans. I've just got this image of going, someone shouting, "That's absolutely diabolical."
Yeah.
Offside!
Probably from Wigan, but bearing in mind she was surrounded by fronts from Wigan, she probably wouldn't have understood most of them anyway.
No, just smile and wave, Kate. Smile and wave. Humour them. So, England, Papua New Guinea. Blimey, another easy victory for England. I don't know because I've seen a couple of journos online, my best mates, Aaron Bauer and Matt Shaw, both tweeted after the game things like, I can't remember who said it, but one of them said, they're making me believe. I don't know why they're making me believe again. And the other one said, I don't know why people are doubting this England side. They're great, and this is what you should have been. They're absolutely brilliant. Reece, do you we said it on last week's podcast, but do you think we kind of said it last week after England beat, who was it? France? Whoever it was.
Greece.
Yeah, Greece. Should we be excited? Do you think England have beaten anybody yet?
I certainly think there's a degree to be excited because I think for those 30 minutes between the 5th minute and the 35th minute, I don't think I've ever seen a team dominate a half of rugby as much as that. Papua New Guinea didn't touch the ball for nearly pretty much 30 minutes. I think on the 35th minute, they put out a stat saying that Papua New Guinea had made 46 meters, something like that, within 35 minutes. It was an absolute.
It was a clinic.
It was a bullying display, and admittedly, I watched some of the tries again today, and I thought maybe the defense could have been a bit better, but that doesn't matter. The execution was there, and they finished the chances, and they did it. I think that 30 minutes was some of the best rugby I've seen England play for a long, long, long time. So I generally think there's reason to get behind the hype. I think, judging by New Zealand's performance on Saturday, that England look better than New Zealand and look like they've got a better chance of beating Australia.
Oh God,
yeah.
I think if anyone's going to beat Australia about the size left, it's England.
Really?
I think that's. But obviously, I might change after New Zealand will bounce back. But judging on what the performances I've seen so far, why can't England be within a shout?
No, the Fijians really did give it to them. That was another game I went to. I was at that game at Hull, and the Fijians pushed them really close, and there was a couple of dodgy decisions. And had they have not taken place, and the Fijians would have been right in there. But the other thing is, though, gentlemen, if I can just be allowed to go off on yet another one of my famous tangents, of course, at this point.
It's why we get you on, Ian.
I mean, the closer we get, obviously we've got the semi-final on Saturday, which hopefully we will overcome Samoa and then get to the final. But let's face it, folks, what about the worst case scenario? What happens if we go and win it? It's not just the boost it will give to the game, but the thing that is scaring me, of course, that is the really scary thing if we win the World Cup is Sir Sean Wayne.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Has anybody actually considered that?
Well, rugby league isn't big enough to... You might get an MBE, you won't get United. But
I was about to say that. Is it that big a deal?
Yeah, well,
do you certainly would be to us, but I had to Sean Wayne, Jesus Christ.
I had to catch myself earlier today because I realised I started thinking like Sean Wayne. Like I was thinking about the game and thinking about this podcast and going, how did we concede 6 points? Like I was angry that we conceded 6 points rather than obviously the 46 we scored, and I just had a click going, shit, Sean Wayne's having an effect on me.
on the plus side, though, if we do win it, and it's still a considerable if, but if we do win it, it hopefully will be the kick up the proverbial backside that this game needs. Because look how the England Rugby Union team dovetailed off the 2003 World Cup. And that might just be the thing that kickstarts the game finally in this country.
Yeah. Wakes it from its slumber. I agree.
Yeah.
Tom Burgess scored again. He scored the first try.
He's on fire.
Am I right? Has he scored in every game?
Bear with.
Ooh, good question.
I think he's scored in every game.
Talk about something else.
He has. Yeah. We are, for anyone that's listening to this, we are a Leeds Rhinos podcast, the Lot Pod. The three of us, I host, Reese is the co-host. Ian is one of our Lot Pod squad. He's one of our regulars. We are Leeds fans. Just speaking of Tom Burgess, if anyone that's not a Leeds fan now, you might want to turn this down or skip it on. Tom Burgess he's mentioned Leeds before at the previous World Cup or something, and he's fluttering his eyelids again. Ian saying he's a Leeds fan. He'd like to play for the Rhinos. Do Do you think if there was any small possibility of Tom Burgess being available, whether it's maybe not immediately, but I think he's got a year left at the Rabbit Holes?
I think. Well,
do you think that someone should try and grab with both hands, someone of that pedigree?
Well, a year is a hell of a long time in rugby league. Unfortunately, probably the way that Leeds is shaping up, maybe he has. Well, I don't know. He maybe has come to the table a little bit too late. I mean, we've got we've sorted out our forward problems that we've got. I think we've probably got a decent pack. So unless there is something, critical in terms of, career-ending injury, heaven forbid, then really it's going to be quite difficult to slot him in. I think the big need for Leeds going forward now is a centre, and obviously the rumours persist over that. The retirement of Matt Pryor a couple of weeks ago obviously now frees up that space, and there is the potential for movement there. But I think we probably right now don't need him, or he would require a sizable chunk of the salary cap.
Yes,
possibly beyond the need. Well, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. I've got a Star Trek quote in there. Great, there you go. That's another $5. But the fact is,
I'm sure you've had another Star Trek quote on before.
But how, Spock? But anyway, the bottom line is, I said, the needs of the salary to retain your Holroyds, your Aledskis, your
Newmans,
the Sangares, and all of this world is probably going to be enough to you would want to keep those four rather than Burgess and or one other.
Another, yeah.
Was
that long enough, Reese?
Way more than long enough, actually. I've actually solved the economy in that time.
I knew Ian was the soundbite, you see.
So he has scored in every game but the France game.
Wow. What a record, though.
I asked this question on Twitter about Burgess.
You did? That was my next question.
And my opinion on it is you can never have enough props.
Keep saying that. It drives David Bywater mental.
I know. But the bigger the pack, the more, I don't care. Bigger in number, bigger in size. I just think in Super League, especially, if you dominate the pack and you can get that front foot, I think it goes a long way. Would I have him over Lasone, or however you say that name? Probably would. But I haven't seen a lot of Big Sam play before. But the vote,
Big Sam, I like that.
It's a new one.
I'm gonna write that down for a new badge in the new year.
Hang on.
Slamming Sam, Big Sam, yeah, he's our Slamming Sam.
Sam's Burgess.
Yeah, that's true.
But
Smoking Sam, we'll work on it.
Samoan Sam, Samoan Sam is Samoan.
Scorching.
But the vote said 63% of people preferred a centre over Burgess.
Yeah. I think Ian's right in terms of the pack looking good now. This has turned into the lot pod now.
So back to England.
Yes, absolutely.
Back to England.
I genuinely thought that 30 minutes was one of the best rugby I've seen.
The
World Cup, I think, from England.
Well, this is it, because I've got written down here. Tom Burgess scored, Dom Young scored, Makinson scored a first half hat trick. 4 tries.
You got 5.
Watkins 2 assists and a try. Everything I've just mentioned. Sorry, Makinson got a hat trick. 36-0 after 27 minutes.
Yeah,
it was game over before half an hour. I mean, that is so clinical, and we've kind of waxed lyrical about Dom Young, and he deserves all the plaudits. But watching the game, the most joy I got from watching the game, and you might agree, Ian, was seeing Callum Watkins back in this form. Obviously, we are Leeds fans, seeing with a smile on his face, and because the way he left us, I just felt that at the time. I don't know if there was something like a cloud over him or something. It just wasn't or an injury. I can't quite remember at the time, but to see him play like he did on Saturday, I was over the moon for him.
He looked distinctly disinterested when he left Leeds, and I mean the other fundamental question we need to ask ourselves is: has England got radically better, or has Papua New Guinea got considerably worse? Bearing in mind that it's only the last World Cup and the one before where they pushed us incredibly close.
Yeah, they beat the Lions as well, didn't they? Great Britain.
That's it. So and it will be a shame if they've declined. But obviously, when England sailed through the group stages, they got past the tricky game of Samoa. You knew they were going to win the other games fairly easily. And then it was a question of, hang on a minute, Papua New Guinea, this lot are going to give us a game. This are going to give us a stiff test. And as I say, by half an hour, they dissolved, basically.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, the other thing is that the poor performance of Papua New Guinea means that the Rugby League have banned Reece Martin for yet another game. Then, really, on the back of this, so you're being involved with that, Reece.
Reece, don't appeal.
Yeah, there you go. So they disappeared. And it's quite sort of surprising, really, that they didn't give us more of a game. So,
I don't think they didn't give us a game. I just think that England were that clinical and that good.
Yeah,
that they were that far down. With half an hour gone, they just didn't. They weren't out of the game.
There's no way back, is there, really?
The second half was a bit boring because I was kind of wanting England to press on and just push them all the way like they did with Samoa. But Papua New Guinea are no mugs. They pushed Tonga all the way, and we've been praising Tonga throughout this.
Yeah,
they're playing some good rugby, but I just think England were that good. Callum was. The try I enjoyed most. The actual try I enjoyed most was George Williams because he slid from a 10-meter line to finish it, which was always handy.
From that first angle, like the in-game angle, the widescreen shot when Callum offloaded it for him, it didn't look like he had the momentum to slide over the line. I was like, what's just happened there? But then from the closer angle, you could see he just glide like it on ice.
But that was a really good try. That was set up by Bateman initially with the break. But
to be fair, he had another good game. But carry on, sorry, I'm interrupting.
Yeah, Callum was brilliant. Obviously, really nicely set up by Dom Young. But it almost reminded me a bit of the Ryan Hall, Callum Watkins sort of thing.
Yes.
It was really interesting.
Those were the days.
Dare I say it under my breath, I thought Sam Tompkins had a really good game.
Yeah, they did.
Annoyingly.
Not this England side are making me humble pie.
Farnworth, again, I thought was absolutely class.
Superstar, man.
Hope he goes bananas.
Yeah, there was some really good performances, but I don't think it was the fact that Papua New Guinea declined. I just think England were that good in that opening. They didn't let them breathe. I mean, regardless of how poor you are as a side, Greece gained more meters in 35 minutes against us than Papua New Guinea did, and Greece are way leagues below Papua New Guinea.
Yeah,
so I think there needs to be credit to England to
credit where it's due.
That they did. Yeah,
Tommy Makinson became the first ever male England squad player to score 5 tries.
Boo! Sorry, Tommy Boo Makinson. If we're going to go off on a tangent, is he going to be the big panto villain next year?
Yes.
Boo!
Quite the feat, though, Ian. Don't you think? 5 tries for an international World Cup.
Absolutely, yeah. So that was some achievement, and again the back line, no matter who has played in the back line,
they've been good.
Have all fired.
And to be fair, again, I just mentioned there that this England side have made me eat humble pie throughout the World Cup. I said, I think it was the last podcast, that I think Ryan Hall should start on the wing over Tommy Makinson. And that's another one I got wrong.
Well, who's to say that Ryan wouldn't have got 6, 7, 8, maybe 10
That's
tries?
Right. I think he'd have got 8. England missed out there.
My worry about Makinson is his goal kicking.
Yeah.
because he missed some that I'd expect a goal kicker at an international level to be getting. He missed 4 on Saturday, and I don't know why. Is he the best kicker in the team?
I'm about to say, is there another?
Is Tompkins not better?
Who else kicks? Tompkins.
Does Williams kick?
I don't think so.
Right.
Is it Ratchford for
just when it comes down to a close game, you need to be getting those points knocked over.
No, Wellesby don't keep, does he?
If they're from the touchline, I get it. Obviously, Reece Martin would get it, but that's different. But
yes,
if you do get to the final and you are playing Australia, each of those 2 points will matter every time you get a try. So that's going to be my only negative.
From this point forward, the conversions are vital because they become vital now. You're right. Carry on, Ian. Sorry.
Having said that, I saw New Zealand against Ireland and again against Fiji, and their kicking wasn't up to much. Australia as well on Friday night were not, totally, they displayed fallibilities as well.
But that's because the ball's not being blown up properly, though.
Right. Now, there we are.
We'll come on to them later, but I can't stand them. Carry on, Ian.
I knew that get you.
But that,
you just reeled me in there.
So none of them are particularly, metronomically firing and banging over.
Did you hear those 2 words? He's been watching too much Blackadder, this guy.
That's it. Yeah. There we are. As my bookcases, there's the dictionary in there somewhere. I've been swallowing a few of them. But anyway,
which word can I use tonight?
That's it. Yeah, I don't put the camera on it too much in case anybody zooms in on the dodgy ones. But there we are.
Beano 1961.
Well, that's what everybody did during the lockdown, wasn't it? You weren't interested in what the person was saying. Oh, wonder what dodgy books they've got behind.
Tangent.
Yeah,
Tangent 5.
There we go. But neither of the other 2 sides have looked. Australia and New Zealand have looked like they're going to kick every goal from every angle,
which is balmy because in it Nathan Cleary kicking for Australia.
Yeah, he missed 3.
Yeah. I mean, come on, he's talking like probably if not one of the top 2 players in the game, kicking as well.
Of course, Sod's law dictates is that they'll all click the minute that England come over the horizon, and they'll be
every single
from all angles. Then
every single one thinking, you want kicking them like that against Fiji and Ireland?
Yeah,
and yet now you've turned into a prime Reece Martin. What was the final score? I forgot to write it down.
46-6.
Did you hear that? 46-6. And my name's Eddie. Still getting emails about my lack of pronouncing my name and the score. All right. Anything else on this England game before we move on?
No.
Well done, England. We'll get predictions for the Samoa game after. Have you got any stats or anything, Reece? Or do you want to go on to the World Cup?
Just move on. They're not that interesting.
No, you're right. I think the next
we got more points than they did. I think that's
exactly.
We'd have to eat more humble pie if I read the stats. So we're just going to.
I've had enough. I'm full. I'm going to throw up if I have to eat any more of that pie. World Cup roundup, Reece.
Yeah, we'll do. So in the men's tournament, then, so in the other games, the Aussies beat Lebanon 48-4.
Who cares?
Who cares? I don't care. But the only thing that really annoyed me about that game was that this strict rule. I know it was only 1 try they got from it, but this strict rule is winding me up. I hated it in Super League. Why is it still here? Rubbish rule.
Yeah. Get rid of it.
And then 2 cracking quarterfinals.
It leads to a Leeds try, then it's all right.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Remember Matt Pryor being quite good at them, actually.
He won his first year.
Yeah. Tangent again. The other quarterfinals, which were brilliant, New Zealand beat Fiji 24-18. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Ian, because you were there, but I'm pretty sure New Zealand were not in the lead until the 70th minute.
That sounds about right. They were behind most of the time, and the fans were backing Fiji, and really, the New Zealanders got the old get out of jail free card again.
Yeah, was that? So I talked about England being that good that Papua New Guinea looked bad. Was that New Zealand being bad, or that Fiji being really good?
I think a combination of both. I don't think New Zealand particularly fired. They had the benefit of a dodgy refereeing decision, and I think possibly that Fiji, just bless them, ran out of gas in the last 10 minutes as well. But they fought a rear guard for at least 30 minutes of the second half, and looked possibly like they were going to do it.
Nagama looked good in that game. I'm a bit worried.
You have literally took the words out. It syncs so perfectly. Yeah, Nakama is signed for Huddersfield, and
that's what I was about to say. Are they getting a better player than Latelli?
Off the back of this and his performance in this, I thought he was absolutely awesome.
He was
genuinely to the point where, as I always say, whenever a Super League, it's been a very Leeds heavy, but who cares, signs a player, am I jealous? Would I prefer them to come to the Rhinos? And watching that performance from him on Friday, was it Saturday? I just thought Huddersfield are getting an awesome player there. We know how good he was for his time at Saints, but what he looked awesome. I was just thinking, God, if he was, Huddersfield fans been watching that saying, wow, we're getting a start. And I was jealous of that. I thought, I wish he were coming to us. But I just hope that now, again, it's Leeds heavy, who cares? Now we've got that quarter spot available and we need a centre. That's the kind of guy.
That's the calibre. Even if it's a 1 year,
good word. That's the calibre.
And you Levi Edwards to grow, that's who you want in.
Just someone to come in 2-3 years, so them younger Edwards and Simpson, can kind of get that pedigree and then become like Harry Newman. Then we're kind of sorted.
Yeah,
I thought Joey Manu had a good game.
He got man of the match.
I think he had a good game, Ian, on whenever it was.
I think they did. I mean, as I say, I was watching the Fijians, and they were great. But the New Zealanders probably held their nerve.
Yeah, just that big game management. Really, I felt that. Yeah, kind of like an. I kind of saw it as like two heavyweight boxers going like blow for blow, and New Zealand being the champion, and Fiji being like the up and coming like youngster, and the champion New Zealand were like on the ropes and taking the hits, but then when it gets to the championship round, so to speak, they know how to finish it and to kill it, and I just felt that that's what New Zealand did. That they hung on and by the fingernails, and were like kind of saying to themselves, if it stays as it is, there's enough here with us, the pedigree we have, the quality, because they are absolutely quality, to get over the line. We've just got to stay patient, and in the end they did. And I thought Fiji were fantastic. I don't think they, came out of it looking bad at all in any way, shape, or form. But I just felt in these type of games, when it comes to the crunch, if you've been, I've said it before with the Rhinos and grand finals, but if you've been there before and done it, it helps.
Yeah. Kind of. You might remember they got knocked out by Tonga last year. So there'd have been a bit of PTSD going with that, I reckon. But they came through. And then the fourth quarter final, probably one of the best games of the tournament so far. Tonga 18, Samoa 20. Now, the reason why I say it's one of the best games so far is that I don't think you'll ever see so much passion in a game of rugby as when these two nations play each other. And I think that is on my bucket list to go see, but down under. If they played that game in Tonga or Samoa, couldn't you imagine what the atmosphere would be like? Or even in Auckland or in Melbourne, where they've got obviously the massive Pacific Islanders and nations in there. But how good was it? I know I'm going to pronounce this really, really wrong, but the Samoan Civitao and the Tongan Sipitao, that moment is one of my favourite moments of rugby of all time, regardless of the code. Because my other favourite moment is when it happened in the 2003 Rugby Union World Cup, where the Kiwis did it and the Tongans. The Kiwis, brilliant. Yeah. And that moment is another thing that rugby league should be marketing the hell out of. Just that needs to go on all the socials, because that moment is just brilliant.
I don't know how you can watch games like these, Tonga Samoa, and the people in charge of International Rugby League. How can you watch a game like that, the build up and everything to it, and not want more of that?
Yeah, How can you not say there's a product? We've got the game's the product, but the passion, the feeling, everything that comes with games like that. How is that not a Six Nations?
How is that not enough? How can you not? How can you not watch that and think, "Oh my God, we should do this more often."
Yeah,
this international stuff, it's really good. Why don't we do more of it? Carry on, Ian, sorry.
The other thing is as well is that what perhaps needs to be encouraged as well is, and hopefully it will now develop for the Pacific Islanders, is that suddenly they won't decide that they're Australian or New Zealanders anymore.
Thank God, I know. Yeah.
And that there's no need for them to actually get to play top flight rugby. They don't or should not have to change nationality.
No. Sod Australia.
Yeah. But the game is better for them to do it, and you get moments like that, and you get a good game of rugby as well. Although, did you see the stuff about I forgot his name, that Samoan fullback?
Matt Parrish.
No, not him. The Samoan fullback who doesn't play fullback.
Joseph Suwali.
Yeah. Have you seen how he goes into contact?
With the knee?
Have you seen how high his knee gets?
Yeah.
Because I read a couple of comments in the end. Yeah, I read a couple of things in the NRL that they're trying to make him stop and do it because he's purposely charging with his knee really high up.
With
so
his knee
going down to get in the right body position, the knee's just going to go straight in. Just something to pick up on, just in case Chris Kendall or whoever's refereeing next weekend.
What a player, though. I mean, you look at him, 19 years old, and again, he was another one who the Aussies were trying to move heaven and earth to try and get him under their green and gold. So thank God he chose Samoan. And like I say, the stranglehold of the Aussies has to stop. No, we don't need them. No one likes them.
Great game though. And then just going to Women's World Cup really quickly. Obviously, England played before. England men, they beat Canada 54-4.
Yeah.
Some great tries in that. Fran Goldthorpe's was great. It was great because there was 6 Leeds Rhinos girls in that.
I know.
It was great. It was brilliant watching it.
Courtney Winfred-Hill is just outstanding.
Yeah.
Absolutely outstanding. Just
it's great to see Georgia Roche out there as well, obviously, after
that combination. I mean, the rugby league brains that those two have as a combination. If though I know how good Australia are, especially because they, like we said with Danica Prim when she came on and spoke to us, they've got, as always, they've got all the money and they do state of origin women and all that. But I don't know. I'm more hyped for the ladies' side, for the women's side. Than I don't know. I'm more excited when I'm watching them, probably because there's a bit more Leeds Rhinos in there. But from what I've seen of Roach and Winfred-Hill together in that combo in the halves, I just think there's so much intelligence there. And then you add Fran Goldthorpe in there and Tara Jane Stanley. There's just, I don't know, so much excitement. I genuinely think that head to head, if they do come up against the Aussies, I think there's enough there to.
I think there is.
Maybe, try and it won't be as bad a game as maybe some people think. I think it could be closer than. But I've loved it. I've absolutely loved watching those women games. I wish I could have gone to one, but it's just been the.
Well, the proof in the pudding for England on Wednesday because they're playing Papua New Guinea. On Wednesday, who are good, and they beat Brazil 70-0. So very similar scoreline to what we did in the first round. In the other group, New Zealand beat Cook Islands 34-4, and Australia pumped France 92-0. But
who cares?
The Aussies play the Kiwis at York on the 10th, so that'll be another interesting game in the women's.
Another one.
And then in the wheelchair, and then in the wheelchair, England wheelchair won 104-12 against Spain. Australia won 76-18 against Ireland, so that means England have now qualified out of that group. And then in the other group, France beat Scotland 80-15, and Wales beat the United States 50-32. So that they're moving into the semi-finals this weekend as well. Again,
for anybody that's never watched a game of wheelchair rugby league, that kind of you may be thinking, I don't know why I'd watch. Just watch it, just try it, because I can assure you, it is nothing like you imagine.
Did you see the hits compilation that BBC Sport put out
together? Oh my goodness.
But there was an Australian that got a try in the games yesterday, and I can't remember his blooming name.
Who cares?
But you know, when obviously in the men's rugby as well, especially you see Makinson flying into the corner doing things. You know, you see wingers doing stupid things to put it over.
Yeah,
he was doing it in a wheelchair.
He was
driving, going on his side, rolling over, and scoring a try in a wheelchair. And some of the hits are just ridiculous. Like
some of the hits, the set plays, everything about it. It's just honestly,
I can't believe.
I can't implore you enough if you've never seen it. Just watch it because it's you're just hooked.
And how great that it was on BBC Two because it captured so many people.
Because of my current circumstances, thankfully I've been able to see a few, and it's probably the first time that I've sat down and had it on and watched it, and it is absolutely phenomenal. Forget the stuff that you might have seen at the Olympics, etc., with certain other versions of wheelchair rugby. This is the full Monty, and you know it really is no holds barred. You know, and kind of once you get the sort of hang of the rules, which are not that far removed, you know, you've got to pass the ball back. There's kicking, there's tactical kicking, there's goal kicking in there. All of those sorts of things that you would expect from, you know, in rugby league. It is a fantastic product. I would probably even go so far as to say, fingers crossed and deep breath with rugby league in mind, is that if it is properly marketed, this could be the first mainstream, in inverted commas, disabled sport. You know, it's the thing that will, you know, break out from the sort of, you know, being a sort of, you know, specialist or you know, dare I say minority sport, but something that breaks through to
the mainstream.
The mainstream.
I mean, the appetite for it, with it, like Reece says, it had been on BBC Two, the hits compilation, you know, just metal on metal, just colliding. It sounds so good, you know, the whole...
It sounds amazing, doesn't it?
I absolutely love it.
Tom Halliwell got clattered against Australia.
Absolutely hammered.
From underneath and then over somehow. He got absolutely battered.
It's awesome. Honestly, I cannot implore people enough to give it, just watch it, you know, just... You'll be hooked. You won't turn it off. You know, the second it kicks off, you'll be like, it'll be nothing. It's nothing like that you imagine. It's unbelievable. I've really enjoyed the whole coverage of it.
The simple yardstick is, would I pay to go and see a game of wheelchair rugby? And the answer is hell yeah. On the back of this, definitely.
Yeah. Absolutely. So just to kind of wrap things up with our predictions for England versus Samoa this weekend. First of all, Reece, this will be a different version of Samoa for England, don't you think?
Yeah, of course it will be. And you can't, if I'm Samoa's coach, Matt Parrish, and to be honest, no one knows what he's really going to do because he's a bit of a tool by the sound of things.
Because he won't tell you.
Yeah, exactly. He won't tell you. You're not allowed to speak. But a good coach would use that. You pump your 60. They're not going to let that happen again. Also, yes, you could argue they didn't have a warm-up game, blah, 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 blah. But they are now in rhythm. And they're beating a good Tonga side. So if people are thinking this is going to be a blowout, you need to think again. But I don't think England needs to be doing much different to what they're doing at the moment. They just need to play the game they've been playing. The 4 forwards on the bench is working. Keep doing it. I don't think England have to change much at all. I wouldn't even change the side. I wouldn't change. The only thing I would do in terms of the England side is bring Luke Thompson in instead of Mike Cooper, because there's no game of rugby where Mike Cooper is better than Luke Thompson.
No.
So, it's not going to be the same game.
Prediction?
I think England by 14.
Oh, pretty close then. Ian, prediction? How do you see this one going?
I would say probably England, but maybe less than that. Maybe 6 to 10. I think it's going to be a bit of an attrition, and like many other World Cups, and sort of echoing back to the sort of '66 football tournament, we are now getting to the sharp end. This is the thing where if you want to be world champions, you've got to beat these sides. Yeah, exactly.
To be the man. You got to beat the man.
Yeah.
What did you say? Sorry, England by?
I said about 6-10, possibly.
So
6-10.
I'm going to take your mind back, Lottie, to the preview World Cup show that you did with one Laurie. And one Bry from 6 again. You said, I can't remember what you said, but you definitely said Samoa were going to win, and you had to eat humble pie after that. You said George Williams shouldn't be in the squad, and then you had to eat humble pie after that because they were class. So I'm presuming you're now going to say England by 60 and George Williams to score 4 tries and get man of the match.
Don't forget, I also said Ryan Hall should be playing on the wing, not Tommy Makinson.
Yeah.
So that's the hat trick. I don't. People might be listening to this, watching this, saying, you also said, I can't remember that, so it's 3. So I've got 3 wrong, but I'm kind of sticking to my guns here, my delusional guns. I'm going to say Samoa. I am. I think, I don't know, a bit of a banana skin, this one. I think it will be a close game. I'm going to say Samoa by 4.
Ever the pessimist, eh?
Well, it's working for England. Me predicting against, they're throwing the humble pie in my face. So yeah,
Samoa without Paulie.
He's appealed and got off.
No, he's not banned.
Has he not? Yeah, no, he's got off. As you
got it off.
Would expect.
It must be. Yeah, it must be. It must be almost.
Have you ever been?
Must be a Saints player.
Yeah. Must be called St. Helens. Get me off of this one, won't you?
You are. Yes, you're not Reece Martin. On you go.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, everybody.
Dare we say, what about the other one? What about Australia, New Zealand? How do you not care about them? What do you
New Zealand?
Yeah,
it's not about predicting the score. It's about Australia just not winning.
Yeah, who cares? Oh, in fact, if I could choose how they'd lose, I'd like it to be like a real dodgy forward pass.
Yeah, Chris Kendall.
Last minute, Jordan Rapana in the corner. Is his foot on the whitewash? It definitely is, but the ref says it in, and I'm laughing and I'm going, yeah, throw it in the face. Just any kind of win,
I think an ankle tap would be appropriate as one of their players are running in, so they know how we felt with Callum Watkins. And then the other one is I want them to think they've scored a try with a fingertip like Ryan Hall nearly did, and I want that to happen and then to get ruled out by Chris Kendall.
That'd be lovely.
Dare we also summarise by saying then an England-New Zealand final, a Samoa-New Zealand final, and possibly England-Australia final. So if you're listening in at home, that's variety for you.
Because the thing is now, we're getting to the crunch now, and it's quite awful because Australia, we've only got two teams. We've only got a chance to beating them now, which is, previous to that, we had a small glimmer of hope that they won't make it, but I just think, I don't know. I think the pack of New Zealand is one of the best in the game. So if they're on form, when do they play? Friday at
Ellen Road.
Friday at Ellen Road. If they're on form on Friday, that pack of the Kiwis, I think they could do it. I do. They're going to have to be better than they were against Fiji, but that they'll know that. They'll know, we can't be at that level against the Aussies. And I don't even think it's a case of the Aussies having a bad, like an off day. I just think if New Zealand, I just pray that anyone but Australia would be great, because as good as Australia are, and they are, they are the best. That's why everyone wants them to lose. They've done so much things in this World Cup just to piss us all off. The squad numbers thing, and then like Reece says with the balls are deployed, and then just anyone but them, please, New Zealand.
The thing is with New Zealand is all the Bromwiches, isn't there? There's Jesse Bromwich, there's Kenny Bromwich, there's Castle Bromwich, and there's West Bromwich, and there's a lot of Bromwich. And thank you very much. There's the fiver for getting that joke in. So there we go.
There we go. It's another fiver, tenner.
So, but no, they have got a big, awesome pack of news. it's kind of one of those things, isn't it? Australia have got a decent pack and a fantastic back line, and they kind of cancel each other out. That Australia, New Zealand have got a massive pack and a decent back line, so it's it'll be interesting.
Are you going, Reese?
If I can persuade my dad, yeah, or I might just go on my own. Or if anyone needs a friend or just want to tag along, I'll come.
There you go. Get in touch with Reese. Do follow us on Twitter at Lot17A at The Owl and Fleece. Please do subscribe to us on YouTube. If you just search the Lot Pod, that's us there. Hit that subscribe button. That's what Ralph, my son, told me to say. And yeah, we'll get some more. We could do with some more subscribers on YouTube. We will be back next Sunday. I promise. There'll be no more delays. We'll be here next Sunday to review the semi-finals. And thanks to Ian and Reese for joining me for this one. We'll see you next week on the World Cup Lot. Take care.